What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rescue Michigan live stream. Happy Friday. It is Friday, September 16th, less than 2 months before Election Day. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube. We are not, unfortunately, live on Rumble tonight. And that is, unfortunately, Rumble's fault. Despite being the free speech platform, Rumble is not exactly at the top of their game on their technical performance. So when we went to create our live stream tonight, we've had this happen before. When we go to create a live stream, they make you set it up in advance, and then you have to upload a fake video that just plays on loop until you go live. And then they make you check these two boxes for terms and conditions, which you'll notice don't exist, which I've seen happen before. Usually I find it happens when I don't complete their form fast enough. So I went back and did it all over again, and the boxes just didn't appear. And you know what? I love Rumble. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube who are facing censorship start to have announced that they're going to be doing using Rumble as their main platform. They'll do a partial stream on YouTube or wherever, and then they'll cut off the stream and be only on Rumble because they're really trying to get people over to Rumble. I wish them the best. I want to do that too. But we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. Rumble just has some things to work out. This is their homepage right now. Their homepage, and their top video claims to have only one view. I know that's not true. But we never really know how many people are actually watching our live streams. We can't trust Facebook to tell us the truth. We can't trust YouTube to tell us the truth. We know Rumble would try to tell us the truth, but I think they just have some technical difficulties that they still need to work through. So that's unfortunate. But hey, how is everybody doing? Zoe Lee, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, says, just watched Karum's live. Sounds like she's dropping out. Interesting. I will have to check that out. Keep me posted. But anyway, folks, tonight, I want to just kind of give you guys an update on some election-related things. That's what we principally need to talk about. Everything else is secondary. I'd love to give you guys my analysis about the news of the world, my commentary on the new Game of Thrones show. It sucks ass. But that's not what's important right now. The important thing, frankly, the only thing we can be focused on right now is doing everything we possibly can to win this election. And because it's coming close. It's coming in fast. And frankly, it's shocking to see that it appears what we call mainstream cavalry is not arriving. And I'm hearing from people all the time, everywhere. Where's Tudor Dixon's ads? Where's all the support for her? And that's a good question. That is a good question. You would think the tens of thousands of businesses who have suffered enough under Gretchen Whitmer would be doing everything they can to remove her from power. Where is the Restaurant Association? Where is the Oil and Gas Association? Where is all this big Lansing corporate money? I mean, given a lot of it is not really on our side at all. Certainly big interests like the utility monopolies, DTE, and consumers, they don't give a rat's ass about affordable energy. They actually make more money when energy is not affordable. So they are, by definition, going to be supporting the radical left. But that's a whole other story for another night. Tonight, what I want to talk about is what we can do as the grassroots to be effective and do everything that we can to maximize the vote for the good guys in the November 8th election. And of course, that means removing Gretchen Whitmer from power. So if Zoe Lee's instincts are correct about what it sounds like Melissa Corona is doing, good, and that should certainly be encouraged. It really, really should be. There was a period shortly after Tudor Dixon announced that she was going to pick Shane Hernandez for her running mate when a lot of, we'll call them for now, grassroots people were questioning Shane Hernandez's legitimacy as a conservative, which is outrageous because he's one of the strongest conservatives we've ever had in the legislature. And there was a lot of rumors about people trying to get Garrett Soldano to run for lieutenant governor, but inevitably doing so, attacking Tudor Dixon and Shane Hernandez and the ticket in general. And he did the right thing and did not wage that challenge. And that's a really good thing. and we should praise him for having opted not to do that. That really is good. On Facebook, Kelly Fountain says GOP is dropping all grassroots they don't like, in my opinion. Well, the thing is, Kelly, the GOP should not want to kill. I mean, you don't want to kill the goose that lays the golden egg. I mean, yes, they don't like the fact that they have grassroots candidates for Attorney General and Secretary of State. But I'll tell you, when I first got to Lansing, working for John Riley, who had just gotten elected, the first thing that the chief of staff of the House said, this is a guy, his name was Dan Perro. He was, I think, previously, he was John Engler's chief of staff. And the first thing he said to everybody in the room, the whole room of all these staffers, and I'm sure he said the same thing to all the GOP members, is, may you never know what it's like to be in the minority. And the reality is, I mean, the GOP has had the majority in the House and Senate for a long time, but they've discovered how impossible it is to do anything good with Gretchen Whitmer as governor. And the establishment may not like the grassroots, but they don't really want the Democrats to be in charge. The real question is, why aren't they ponying up? And again, nothing much we can do about that. Maybe some of you are in some businesses and industries where you can raise these questions. You know, if you own a restaurant, you might ask, why isn't the Michigan Restaurant Association doing more? Why aren't they demanding every restaurant owner donate the max to Tudor Dixon and to affiliated PACs and things like that? Why isn't the money coming? Because the money's not going to be coming to them if they lose another 4 years under Gretchen Whitmer. But never mind that for right now. I want to talk about some grassroots stuff. And the first thing I want to do, I want to show off to you guys. Someone sent me a really, really great flyer that they made. This is from a group out of Northville, or maybe just an individual in Northville, but they're putting together a voter guide, which is something that, frankly, every municipality in Michigan needs to have. And it's not something that we can make for you, because every single district is going to be different. I mean, in many cases, precincts are different. So I want to put this up on the screen. Let me, hold on, not this. Hold on, let me unshare, and I got to share a different window now. Again, folks, sorry about the dead air. That's how this goes sometimes. But this is what they made. It's not final yet, and I gave them some feedback on this. In fact, what I really want to do is go through this with you guys, because if you're generating things like this is, first off, a model. This is really, really good, and something that you can take some lessons from, but also some minor criticisms, and one important thing I do want to point out. So you can see they've designed this as a door hanger, and print shops can do these. They're typically more expensive than your average printing, because they have this this die cutting they have to do to make the hole in there, and there's a little slit. You can't quite see it at the top there. I don't know who their print shop is, and I guess different print shops will do these in various sizes and styles. To me, one thing I would point out, and this is, again, it's a question of who you go with as a print shop. This looks like a little flimsy at the top edge. You see that line there, that diagonal line? That's where there's a cut in the paper. So it's how you push it around the doorknob, and then it dangles from here. It looks a little flimsy, and you don't want your flyer to fall to the ground. So one alternative I would suggest to people in general, if they're looking to make a flyer like this, we'll look at the content of the flyer in a second, but there is another thing to consider. Let me show you. There is a company that will make these really nifty little baggies you can buy for really cheap. I'll show you where to get them. You go to this website, uline.com. Let me backtrack here. It's really easy to find. You go to uline.com. They're a shipping supply company, and you just type in door hanger bags. It comes right up, and there it is. Uline doorknob. These flat poly bags. They come in all different sizes. They are dirt cheap. You can see here these different sizes they have available. And note, by the way, the usable dimensions. I once had a flyer that was exactly the width of these door bags, and we were able to stuff them in there, but it would cause the plastic to bulge. And it looked okay on the doors. It actually was kind of tight, but it also made them really, really hard to stuff. So make sure whatever you're printing will fit in these bags, but you can see how cheap they are. You can get these 6x12 bags for $30 for 1,000 of them, so 3 cents a piece. Their shipping is really fast. They're a shipping supply company, so as you can imagine, you will get them immediately. And these work really well for door hangers. You can get them in all these different sizes. So talk to your print shop about what sizes they want your artwork to look like. But you can imagine the typical door hanger. You can see a picture of it right here. Looks like that. I'm looking at the one in the top right here. You can make this a brochure or whatever. So for example, if you have a trifold brochure, an 8.5 by 11, fold that into thirds, and you're looking at this, probably this 4 by 10 size here for one of these. Let me think. 11 divided by 3 is nope, wouldn't be that. It'd be the 6 by 12. But anyway, you guys can figure this out. But just saying, as an alternative to these die cut paper door hangers, there is that as an option. Anyway, let's look at this flyer though. I want to really highlight this because it's really, really good. Let me put this back on the screen. Hold on. Where'd it go? Here we are. So, conservative voter guide, partisan section. And of course, this is side 1 on the left and side 2 on the right. You've got the photos of the candidates. You've got what looks just like how they appear on the ballot, and it shows them bubbled in there. And by the way, folks, these are exactly the things the Democrats do everywhere, especially in like the city of Detroit, where they have tons and tons of voters who not only don't know who to vote for, but oftentimes cannot even read. And they do this, so they say, here is where you bubble in. I remember in November 2020, we had a group handing out flyers that were just like this, but what the top it said was, vote for the black slate. And of course, they were telling them to vote for the not black candidate for U.S. Senate, not John James, but the white idiot Gary Peters. But, you know, that's what people do because they see people handing these things out and they're like, okay, well, I trust you. And that's what they do. Now, obviously, Republicans are going to know Tudor Dixon, Christina Caramo, Mantaperno. In fact, they can just vote straight ticket Republican, but they will not necessarily know about State Board of Education, State Supreme Court. There may, and this is not, I guess, the case in Northville, but there's also going to be appeals courts, things like that, local courts. You've got the university regents there, local school boards. And again, this is why we can't do this for you, because everywhere you live, you've got different candidates for school boards. And I don't know who they all are. And if you don't know, you should reach out, do some research, contact your county GOP. Maybe they know who the serious people are. Generally speaking, if you have nothing else to go by, the people who are not the incumbents are probably the good guys. And you've got this proposal section they have here, which at first I thought I was going to just read out what they say the proposals are going to say on the ballot, but no, they actually did a really good job here. Sorry for the pixelation. I assume this is just the version that they sent to me. If you're designing a flyer like this, make sure you do it high resolution because the print shop's going to need it to be in high resolution. Otherwise, it's not going to look good. But look what they say. Proposition 2, right to vote policy amendment. Amend the state constitution to allow anyone to vote with no ID. Legalize ballot harvesting without being detected. Allow private entities to fund electioneering. Require polls be open for at least 10 days. Require ballot drop boxes in every municipality. Dismantle the audit process. Great, great summary. Good job, Northville. Proposal 3, reproductive freedom for all. I wouldn't call it that. I would change that to be the abortion proposal is what I'd probably just call it. And also likewise, Prop 2, I'd just say the election fraud proposal or vote scam proposal, as we called it before they had proposal numbers. Amend the state constitution to guarantee the right to a partial birth and dismemberment abortion up to the moment of birth. Allow abortions by unregulated non-doctors and clinics. Allow for the sterilization and castration of children without parental knowledge and over their objection. Dang. And again, you know, like you could make some legalistic arguments like, oh, well, actually, it does say that you can regulate late-term abortion as long as it doesn't infringe on the abortionist's saying that the mental health of the mother needs it. That's just all, you know, It's not a debate, folks. It's a matter of getting the message out. That's the way it works. I mean, you see how the Democrats do it. They don't not cut corners. They lie constantly. They lie about Tudor Dixon's position on abortion all the time. They lie about Gretchen Whitmer's position, saying, oh, she didn't raise taxes. Yeah, because she couldn't, because the Republicans in the legislature wouldn't let her. This is your opportunity to tell your side of the story. So this is a really nice template and very well done. I hope people emulate it. A couple of minor points I would make. Conservative voter guide and Take Back Michigan agenda. I would go for maybe a slightly more neutral outlook on that. I mean, people are going to know when you have Tudor Dixon and Christina Caramo and Matt DePerno, it's a Republican flyer. But you don't need to make it, in your face and say this is for conservatives. Because remember, the people you're trying to win over are the independents. So you could say something like the Save Michigan Voter Guide, Rescue Michigan Voter Guide. I'm just being facetious. But, that's partly why we chose the name that we did, is that's what the issue is we need to save our state from these lunatics who are destroying it. And that's something people can relate to. Common sense voter guide, something like that. Take Back Michigan agenda is not as bad, although still saying Take Back Michigan kind of implies partisanship, Yeah, Cindy says common sense voter guide. I agree. That's probably the best one. I think is what I actually recommended. But either way, you might as well eschew partisanship on these. I mean, the Republicans are going to know, obviously, when they see Tudor Dixon, this is a Republican voter guide. But for the independent, we'll call them low information voters, you don't have to say much more. Only other suggestions I had, one was, you might as well make this text bigger on the proposals because you got some empty space at the bottom there. Although who knows, maybe they're going to add some other campaigns. I think maybe there's a Court of Appeals judicial race that needs to be highlighted. What you don't see on this flyer, other than with the proposal descriptions, is explaining why you vote for any of these. That's actually probably sensible, just because you don't have any space for it. Let me show you if I can find it. I didn't prepare for this because I didn't think of it until just this minute, but I'll show you a voter guide I tried to make a few years ago, and I'll show you how it didn't work out if I can find it. Let me look at this. Let me try to find this real quick. Hold on one sec. Maybe it's in here. Nope. I mean, I'll describe it as I'm looking for it, but it was a voter guide that said vote for so-and-so for governor, so-and-so for attorney general, so-and-so for secretary of state, so-and-so for Congress, so-and-so for, and then it had descriptions of all of them. It had like John Riley and Rick Snyder and da-da-da. Or maybe, no, it wasn't Rick Snyder. Maybe it was. I think it was like Bill Schuette and the rest. All right, hold on. I have to actually focus on one thing at a time. It turns out it's really hard to do two things at once. Is this it? Nope. Try again. Oh, poll card 2020. Nope. Wait, what is this? Sorry, folks, for talking out loud, or for thinking out loud here. Let me see what happens if I see what this is. Oh no, this is a more generic one. Actually, I'll put this on the screen anyway. This wasn't the thing I was looking for, but it's neat, so I'll show it. Hold on. This was one I made in 2020. Simple and straightforward. Just says here's who you vote for, and clearly it's Republican, so that's what we did. So we handed these out at the polls. But anyway, that was not what I was looking for. I will take one more stab. By the way, if you wanted to see that for longer, these videos will be archived on Facebook and YouTube, and we are currently at about 19 minutes in. So just later on, go back and pause it when you get there. All right, I give up. But anyway, my point was I had this flyer I made that said vote for this and this and this and this and this, and then it had descriptions for each of them, and the result was it was a very crowded looking busy flyer. This other one is much better, much more well done. Mona Black says Michigan Family Forum will have voter guides available next week. That's great, but will they have them for every single district? And remember that school districts overlap with state house districts, which overlap with state senate districts, which overlap with judicial districts. So We really want you guys to think about being precinct leaders. And this is a really great tool for having something to hand out in your precinct for everybody running on the conservative side. So, all right, let me bring this flyer up again. There's one other point I wanted to make, and this is really, 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 really important. There's one more thing. This bit at the bottom here. It says paid for by your local Republican precinct delegates for better government. That is problematic. So let's talk about what the disclaimer has to say and whether or not you need one. Let me go to Michigan's election law, and we'll be real clear about this. Hold on. All right, so first off, what is an expenditure? The payment, donation, loan, or anything of ascertainable monetary value for goods, materials, services, or facilities in assistance of or in opposition to the nomination or election of a candidate, the qualification, passage, or defeat of a ballot question, or the qualification of a new political party. There is a standard called express advocacy. You may have noticed on our flyers, we do not say vote no on the proposals, vote no on Gretchen Whitmer, vote for Tudor Dixon, or anything like that. Doing that is what's called express advocacy, or as the U.S. Supreme Court called it, the magic words. The magic words are, I think they call them the 7 magic words. It's elect, defeat, support, oppose, cast your ballot for, Smith for Congress, and there's one other one, but it's the same idea. It's when you make absolutely clear in no uncertain terms that you're directing the reader to vote for somebody. In this flyer, it doesn't actually say that, but it's at least arguable that showing the ballot and bubbling in the thing on the ballot in the exact style of the ballot is express advocacy. So if your local Republican Party were to hand these out, would they have to have a disclaimer on them? Well, let's see what the election law says about that. Hold on, I'm going to bring up the screen again. Here's what it says. This is MCL 169.247. Except as otherwise provided in the subsection and is subject to subsections 3 and 4, a billboard, placard, poster, pamphlet, or other printed matter having reference to an election candidate or a ballot question shall bear upon it an identification that contains the name and address of the person paying for the matter. So, we saw that flyer. It just said paid for by your local awesome precinct delegates. No address, and actually not even probably an officially registered name. Now, there is an important exception. And it's right here. This subsection does not apply. No, wait, that's not the exception that I'm looking for. Where is it here? Here we go. An individual other than a candidate is not subject to the subsection if the individual is acting independently and not acting as an agent for a candidate or any committee. So if you're an individual person and you design and pay for these flyers all by yourself and you hand them out, do you have to have this disclaimer? Well, here's the first question. Do you have any affiliation as an agent for a candidate or any committee? That conceivably could apply if you are, say, an officer of your county Republican Party. But if you're just an ordinary citizen making the flyer, you probably don't have to have that disclaimer. But here's the thing. Let me bring this flyer up one more time so we can look at it again. Where'd it go? If you say paid for by your local Republican precinct delegates for better government, you're inviting confusion and ambiguity and scrutiny. So you got to do one or the other. You have to either put your name, address, and phone number, or actually it says name, address, or phone number. Let me pull this up again. Or say nothing. When you say paid for by this looks like a disclaimer that would be an invalid disclaimer. So you don't want to do that. If you've designed something, you've paid for it all by yourself, you're not an officer of your state or your county Republican Party, you probably don't need any disclaimer. And you're probably not going to get in any trouble at all. But you want to be in the legal right on these things, because you have to remember, the radical left is in charge, and they are weaponizing every single aspect of government against conservatives, against Republicans, against people trying to restore liberty in our country. You don't want to give them the ability to do so. And even if you are in the right, litigation, criminal charges, dealing with them can be expensive, it can be time consuming, it can be intrusive. You might want to err on the side of caution, even if you don't actually have a legal obligation to have a disclaimer at all. So if you are absolutely 100% certain you don't need to have that legal disclaimer, then that's fine. But if you are the least bit unsure, the safe harbor is to have a disclaimer. This is from the mertzplus.com website. For those who don't know, Mertz is a very irritating software program that people who have to report expenditures to the government for campaigns have to use. And this is what they say about this, talking about communication. Sample wording: individual acting alone. And again, acting alone is operative. If you are a party officer, possibly a precinct delegate, probably not, but do you want to be in that gray area? I personally don't. You don't have to say anything according to them. But the other option is the address can be substituted by a phone number or other contact information. It says that here and here. And no, never mind. Don't take my word for this, because that's robocalls. This does not say that. In print, it says address. Can that be a P.O. box? Sure. So, again, look, folks, this is not legal advice. If you're going to print flyers, and I certainly encourage you do, make sure you do it right. That may involve having to speak to an attorney, or at least erring on the side of caution in every way possible. Allegan News says, cannot compel individual speech. Nope. Well, funny you say that, because that's certainly correct under the constitutional interpretation of things, but courts are often just wrong about that all the time. How come endorsements in major newspapers for candidates don't have to say paid for by this newspaper on them? Yeah, because courts don't care. That's the way it goes. We all wish we lived in a perfect society where everything was right and just and the natural law was upheld. And that's not the world we live in. So that's just the way that goes. Mona Black posted a link. Mona, I'm not going to open a link on stream because I don't know what it's going to go to, but I'll check it out afterwards. Anyway, so that's all I wanted to say about this. I'll put the flyer up again. And again, I really encourage you guys to make a flyer like these. This is really well done overall. It's exactly the kind of design that's needed for the voters who are Republicans and don't know who the nonpartisan candidates are. And that's going to be huge for the school boards, from local to statewide, the judicial candidates, and the ballot proposals. This makes things clearer. And I'll tell you, we got clobbered in 2018 on a left-wing liberal Democrat proposal on gerrymandering and redistricting and on election integrity in 2018 because voters didn't know better. Republican voters voted for this. Oh, yeah, this sounds good. Yeah, nonpartisan redistricting. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, voters, not politicians. Allegan News says, can I use 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, D.C. as an address if I don't have one? It'd be better not to use any address at all, honestly. I mean, I get it's a joke. But in all seriousness, no, don't put down anything that's going to invite scrutiny and questioning, which is what the paid for by your local Republicans thing does. Because what that's doing is implying that we have an obligation to put a disclaimer, but then also not abiding by what the laws of the disclaimer are. So you don't want to do that. So Alga News on YouTube. I know you're joking, but nevertheless, I want to answer that question seriously because it's an important issue. So, all right, 30 minutes in. We still have a Sunday night stream. So there's a couple other things I want to talk about. In the news, of course, you guys may have heard this bit about Ron DeSantis sending a plane load of illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard. And look, I'm not here to be another version of Fox News and weigh in on all those talking points. You guys can watch Tucker yourselves or whatever other networks you like, or news and commentary, and people on Twitter with all their hot takes. But there was one that I wanted to emphasize because I think this is actually very important and relevant in the context of exposing what an evil, rotten person Gretchen Whitmer is. And the comment I saw on Twitter, I forget who it was from. It might have been Jesse Kelly, is it? I don't know, whoever it was. They made the point, everything about the left-wing meltdown over DeSantis sending 50 illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard when 10,000 plus enter border towns every day makes sense when you realize the hallmark of leftist governance is never having to live with the consequences of your own policies. And that's what Gretchen Whitmer has done for the past 4 years, is never have to live with the consequences of her own policies. Like the time she told us we can't leave the state, especially not to go to Florida. And then what did she do? She went to Florida to visit her dad, which we can't do because apparently he was sick. And she told us we couldn't visit our sick relatives in the hospital and the nursing homes. Tormented us and wouldn't even let us have a proper funeral for them. Because, you know, it'd be a super spreader event. When we had protests at the Capitol over her lockdowns, she called everybody who protested a super spreader. She actually said, if you'll recall, that she may have to extend the lockdowns even longer because of the protest at the Capitol. You know what that's called? It's called collective punishment. Punishing the citizens of a state for the actions of a few, which is illegal under international law, by the way. But of course, the intention was to drive up hatred against people who are protesting, saying, I might have to make you suffer even more because these arrogant, evil Trumpsters are protesting my policies. And then what did she do not 2 weeks later? She protested with Black Lives Matter in Lansing at a rally that later that same day turned into a riot. They flipped over and torched a car. Alga News says no goods not essential by her decree. Yeah. And there's a lot of things voters might have forgotten about, like the time she banned people from buying seeds. And that's one of the things that's big on our Whitmer flyer, is the hypocrisy. I'll put that up on the screen. By the way, I meant to mention this at the beginning of the stream. We have sold out of our proposal flyers. We may order more soon. We are almost through selling our run of the Whitmer flyers. My inclination is just order more of the Whitmer flyers right now, because apparently the print shop had a problem and they're still just now printing them. So I think I'm going to just double our order on those. So the ballot proposal flyers, we may do another run. I will have to make that decision in the next few days. My concern is just that it took us a couple weeks to sell off the run that we had. And if we do another one, it doesn't sell, we're stuck with the bill because we're selling them at a price that's literally just barely over our own cost. But let me show you guys that flyer again, because it is still available. We may do one for Benson or Nestle, probably Nestle. But my inclination is just to order more and have more available of the Gretchen Whitmer flyers. But as for the ballot proposal flyers, you can still download them on our website, either the original version or the white background version, or we recently put out the G-rated version, which doesn't have the terrifying pictures of the groomers and the aborted baby, because some people really just aren't comfortable with that. Although I tell you, that's why they're on there. That's why they were on there. Alga News says, make sure to post the PDF for people to print themselves. I will. I'll do that in just a moment here. But first, I want to just put up the artwork for the Whitmer flyer so you guys can see. Hold on. Here we go. All right. This is side one of our Whitmer flyer. And again, hitting those top level points. She declared herself a dictator. She shut down our schools, our churches, our businesses, our gyms, our lives. She sent COVID patients into nursing homes. She ordered us to stay at home while she vacationed in Florida with her family. She labeled those who dissent as dangerous. Then she went on to ruin our once great state. And then again on the backside, can I open this without? Let's see here. Here we go. I got to change window. Here's the backside. Michigan's lockdown hell. Whitmer's quarantine the healthy, expose the sick program, just, pointing out how ridiculous this whole affair was. COVID patients were intentionally sent into nursing homes, causing untold deaths because she covered up those numbers. This guy, Norman Bledsoe, I think this has been fixed. The correction was made, unfortunately, after the printing on this misspelling of the name. Sorry, everybody. Someone alerted me to that. This guy was punched. He punched him in the face more than 50 times and killed him, and then was deemed incompetent to stand trial. There's Whitmer marching at the rally after telling us all to stay home, and there's the car on fire later that same day in Lansing, reminding people about all these things. Closing sections of stores selling seeds, paint, plants, flooring. There should be a comma there. Jeez. I'm so embarrassed. I'm sorry, folks. You're in the store, but you can't buy that. It was also arbitrary, also stupid. She closed boat docks, preventing the public from enjoying clean air. By the way, I'm hugely embarrassed about these typos, but it's not going to make a difference in the field. People will still get the message. The bit about Florida is on here. To her, Gretchen's family matters, not yours. True statement from somebody. I had to visit my gram through a window after she almost died of sepsis. A Michiganer describing the torment imposed by Gretchen Whitmer's orders, from which she exempted herself and her family. And finally, an overall reminder about what she did to our children with the mask mandates, the school closures, the isolation. What a monstrous thing it was. Alga News said, did you find any good images of the yellow tape off sections of stores? I'm sure I could have. I didn't really look, honestly. I don't think we had any real estate left on the page for more. But anyway, I will show you guys where to obtain those flyers. Let me just open that tab here. Hold on. So if you just go to our website, rescuemichigan.com. On the homepage, there's this big action alerts box just down below here. Order hard-hitting flyers to exposing the abuses of Gretchen Whitmer, the worst governor in Michigan history. And there's the link there. You can download the flyer. You click on the image, and it'll just come right up. You can save it to your computer. There's also a PDF version. There's also a version with a bleed area. Some printers won't want that. There's also a white background version. You can get that one instead if you want to print from home and save ink. And there's also the order form for the flyers. And then the second link here is to the scam proposals, which the time we made the flyer had not yet been given bill numbers. Unfortunately, we are now out of stock. We sold our last 1,000 of them today. But you can still download the PDF. You can get the side 1 and side 2 with the bleed area. You can get them on the white background version, and there is now also a G-rated version, which doesn't have the pictures on it. Again, I strongly encourage you to use the version that does have the pictures because it is hard-hitting and more effective. There's nothing to blank out on the backside. The vote scan proposal is the same. And again, that version as well, you can also get as a PDF. So those are all there on our website. And I hope you guys put that into the field. Allegan News says, a good reminder that the 1930s law was overturned. She used to enforce lockdowns. I agree. Great talking point. It was one of the things we were not able to put on the flyer for lack of space with respect to the other points. You know, generally speaking, I mean, you're right that the law was she was abusing the law so badly that it had to get overturned. But generally, I think court decisions are not all that availing with voters. Elegant News also says, remember, images are more powerful than words. Sometimes giving up text gives more impact. That's a situational question, Elegant News. A lot of things, there's always, of course, there's a saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's why we use a picture of late-term abortion and pictures of drag queens grooming children on our flyer. But images are often not as effective as words, to tell you the truth. All an image can really do is draw the eye and underscore a point. Images by themselves don't tell a story. And there's some things an image can't say. An image can't say, vote Republican, unless you print that in text on an image. An image can't say, donate today. So images have their limits. So we do use them, and we try to use them judiciously. But, we've got a lot to say about Gretchen Whitmer. And I say a lot in our emails, and I say a lot in our podcasts, live streams, whatever you want to call them. And we try to say as much as we can on our flyers as well. But sometimes, as I was saying earlier, with that door hanger, the voter guide, saying more things about each candidate will really use up space. And you have to worry at some point about something being too small to read. I will tell you, in fact, I'll show you. This is what the proposal flyers look like. You can see they're glossy. They're not small. I mean, they look small on your screen maybe, but they're not small on a page compared to, let me see here. Here's like a random page from an instruction manual for a stock I got for my rifle today. But here's this. You can see the text is a lot bigger. The page is shinier. The flyers look great. So we don't have any of these to sell in boxes of 1,000 on our website anymore. One thing I might do is allow you to request flyers and say where you're from, and maybe some of the people that ordered boxes of thousands of them can give you, a stack of them or something. We'll see if we can work something like that out. So there you go. Anything else I wanted to talk about tonight? We've gone a long time. It's almost 45 minutes already. I've got notes reviewing some other groups' videos and materials and things. I think we'll save that for Sunday if we do that, if we do it at all. People have been asking what I think about this guy running for state chair of the GOP, and I kind of am inclined to save that till after the election, but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have more time with our panel on Sunday, so I think we'll save it for then. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope this was informative. We will be sure to post the video for anyone that might have missed it in our next email, and of course, put it on our website and all that good stuff. But as always, guys, thanks again for all you do for liberty. Hope you guys have a great weekend knocking on doors, a great weekend talking to your fellow citizens, a great weekend dispelling the lies of the mass media in the time it matters the absolute most, which is the run up to the election, which, by the way, absentee ballots will be available in just days from now. So we have no time to spare. So until next time, and that will be Sunday at 9 p.m., our regular weekly live stream. Thanks again for all you guys do for liberty. Until next time, peace out.